But the Luis Robert trade goes down.
Yeah.
Luisangel Acuna comes over in that. Beef, how does he fit into the rebuild?
You know, it's funny. The trade happens. White Sox fans materially are one of two camps. One, this is a shit trade. They just dumped salary. Fuck this guy they got. We'd been better off with Luis. Or there was another side that was like, I'm just glad Luis is gone. It was time to rip the Band-Aid off. We needed to get Luis out of here. And whether they claim that it was nothing against Luis, of course it was something against Luis. They just didn't like Luis, and to get him out of here, whatever, they're frustrated, he's injured. But when you look at Luisangel Acuna, he's something that the current roster really doesn't have, and he's a guy with excellent speed. And the White Sox have not had hardly any speed on this roster. And we talked about it early last year when they hired Walker McKinvey. And they said, well, one of the things we're bringing him in here, he was like a game planning coach, and gets us talking about, we're trying to work on, our base running and making sure we can get better leadoffs. We're using tech for this. We're using tech to get an extra step on the bases, half step and all this stuff. And you and I, and the three of us are looking around at the roster. It's like, there's no one fast enough to take advantage of any of this shit. Who the fuck cares if they're going to have extra step? And they got nothing but catchers and guys that fucking run slow. Luisangel Acuna, 97% percentile speed, boys. 29.6 feet per second. Now, I'll put in perspective with some other White Sox players. So, Luis was our fastest player last year at 29 feet per second. So, that's a little slower than Luisangel Acuna. The fastest guy from the remaining team from last year, the full season last year, is Brooks Baldwin. He's at 28.6 feet. So, okay, Brooks Baldwin's fast. Yeah. This guy is faster than Brooks Baldwin.
That's
when looking
good.
at some of the other guys that the White Sox kind of hanging around in like a fringy capacity, you start seeing a little bit of a trend here. Everson Pereira is at 28.3 feet per second. So kind of similar sprint speed as Brooks Baldwin. And then Derek Hill is actually faster than all these dudes, 30.1 feet per second. And maybe that's why he can play plus center field. So I think what you're starting to see is that the White Sox are showing their cognizance of, we have a young core that we kind of like. On offense, they looked okay. And despite the fact that they didn't look exceptionally stupid on defense, like we saw them making a lot of smart plays on defense, their defensive rankings still kind of sucked. And that's because they don't have the guys with the speed and athleticism to get the range and make these plays. And so this is a step kind of in that direction. And we're not sure about the hit tool, but I think it was like kind of immediately like, whoa, they're making a conscious effort this offseason to get guys like Acuna on the roster to see what they could do with them.